Most people don't actually think, they react. Your emotions make decisions your mind should be making. If you can't slow your thoughts, you can't control your life. In a world where everything moves fast, most people make choices in a fog, rushed, emotional, distracted, and overwhelmed. They regret words they didn't mean, choices they didn't think through, and paths they never intended to walk. And it's not because they're weak, it's because no one ever taught them how to think with clarity. The Stoics understood something we've forgotten. A calm mind is a powerful mind, and clear thinking is a skill you train, not a talent you're born with. Today, you're going to learn 5 Stoic techniques that cut through noise, emotion, and confusion, so you can make decisions you don't have to apologize for and build a life you're actually proud of. Take a breath. You're about to take back control of your mind. 1. The sacred pause. By yourself. 1 breath of power. Most people don't think clearly because they don't give their mind the chance to think at all. They react, they defend, they rush, they answer instantly. They let the first emotion that hits them become the decision that shapes their day, sometimes even their entire life. The Stoics saw this thousands of years ago, and they treated it as one of the greatest weaknesses of the human mind, the inability to create a pause between stimulus and response. The truth is simple but uncomfortable. If you cannot pause, you cannot think. If you cannot think, you cannot choose. And if you cannot choose, you are not in control. Your impulses are. The Stoics believed that power begins in the space between what happens to you and what you do next. That tiny gap, often no more than a few seconds, is where your clarity, your wisdom, and your self-control live. Lose that space, and you lose yourself. Protect that space, and you reclaim your mind. Think about the last time you made a bad decision. It wasn't because you were stupid. It wasn't because the situation was impossible. It was because you were overwhelmed, emotional, or caught off guard. You didn't pause, you reacted. And reaction is the enemy of clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That one sentence explains the essence of clear thinking. The world will throw chaos at you. Stress, deadlines, arguments, disappointment, someone cutting you off in traffic, a partner snapping at you, a co-worker undermining you. These things will never stop. But your power, your wisdom, and your dignity all depend on what you do in the first 3 seconds after something triggers you. That is where the sacred pause begins. The sacred pause is the intentional act of buying yourself 1 breath of power before you say something, do something, or decide something. It is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength, the kind that separates children from adults and amateurs from masters. Anyone can react. Only the disciplined can pause. Here's how the sacred pause works in real life. A co-worker sends you a passive-aggressive email. Your chest tightens, your pulse rises, and your brain wants to fire back a sharp response. But instead of reacting, you inhale slowly, 4 seconds in, and you allow your nervous system to settle. You tell yourself, this is just a sensation, not a command. The urge passes. You respond logically, not emotionally. Your partner says something that feels disrespectful. Your first instinct is to snap back, defend yourself, or escalate. Instead, you pause, you breathe, you ask, what emotion is this? Maybe it's embarrassment, maybe it's insecurity, maybe it's fear of being misunderstood. When you name the emotion, it loses its grip on you. You receive disappointing news, a rejection, a delay, a setback. The normal reaction is frustration or discouragement. But your pause lets you shift from, why is this happening to me, to, what is the wisest response here? That single shift changes everything. The power of the sacred pause is not in the pause itself, it's in what it prevents. It prevents you from saying something you can't take back. It prevents you from agreeing to something you shouldn't. It prevents you from jumping to conclusions. It prevents you from letting anger, jealousy, fear, or insecurity make decisions in your place. Without a pause, emotions rule you. With a pause, you rule them. The neuropsychology behind this is equally powerful. When a trigger hits you, your brain activates the amygdala first, the emotional center. If you react immediately, you're responding with the least intelligent part of your brain. But when you pause, even for a single breath, you give your prefrontal cortex, the rational, strategic part, time to come online. In simple terms, the sacred pause shifts you from survival mode to clarity mode. This is why the Stoics trained the pause like a martial art. They viewed it as the difference between living by impulse and living by intention. Here is the Stoic formula you'll use from now on. Pause, breathe, label, act. Pause, freeze the reaction, just 1 second. Breathe, a slow inhale, a slower exhale. Reset the nervous system. Label, this is anger, this is insecurity, this is fear. Naming breaks the spell. Act, choose the response your wiser self would choose, not the emotional one. It sounds simple, and it is. But simple does not mean easy. Most people fail at this because they've trained themselves to react instantly for years. You are training yourself to reclaim control, and here's the most important truth. Your first reaction is your past speaking. Your chosen response is your future speaking. The sacred pause is where you decide which one wins. You want to think clearly. You want to make better decisions. You want to stop sabotaging yourself, your relationships, your goals, and your peace. Start with one breath. That breath is the birthplace of clarity, the foundation of good judgment, and the mark of a disciplined mind. It is a small act, but it is how Stoics build unshakable power. 2. Separate facts from stories. The Stoic filtering method. One of the greatest obstacles to clear thinking is the mind's tendency to mix facts with stories. You experience something small, neutral, or uncertain, and before you even notice, your brain has already built an entire narrative around it. Not based on truth, not based on evidence, but based on old wounds, fears, insecurities, assumptions, and emotional reflexes. The Stoics understood this flaw deeply. They believed that thinking clearly is impossible unless you learn to separate what actually happened from what your mind thinks it means. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, remove the judgment, and what remains is only the event. That is the essence of this principle. Events are objective. Your interpretation is not. Let's break this down in real, modern terms. Imagine you text someone and they don't reply for 2 hours. Fact, no response yet. Story, they're ignoring me. They're upset. They must not care. Someone walks by and doesn't greet you. Fact, they didn't say hello. Story, they're mad. I offended them. Something is wrong. Your partner speaks less tonight. Fact, they're quieter. Story, something's off. They're unhappy. This relationship is slipping. None of these stories are confirmed. They may feel real, but feelings are not evidence. They may feel instinctive, but instincts are not always accurate. The danger is that your body reacts to the story as if it's proven truth. The stress, the anxiety, the defensive behavior, all triggered by a narrative your mind created in a split second. This is how people ruin relationships, sabotage opportunities, damage their self-worth, and make poor decisions. They think they're responding to reality, but they're reacting to an illusion. The Stoics called these illusions fantasia, distorted impressions. Their solution was the mental discipline of separating layers. Layer 1, the fact, what a camera would record. Layer 2, the story, what your emotions narrate. The clearer you separate them, the sharper your thinking becomes. Here's how you practice this Stoic filter. Step 1. Identify the raw, bare fact. Ask yourself, what exactly happened without interpretation? Keep it brutally objective. No assumptions, no emotions, no meaning added. For example, John hasn't replied. Not, John is ignoring me. Step 2. Notice the story your mind is creating. Your internal story often includes reading intentions, predicting outcomes, assuming motives, imagining worst-case scenarios, projecting insecurities. Write it down if necessary. Label it for what it is, a story, not reality. Step 3. Ask the Stoic blackout question. What do I truly know? This question destroys mental fog instantly. It forces your mind to admit how much of your emotional reaction is built on imagination. In most cases, what you actually know is very little. And admitting I don't know yet is one of the most mentally liberating habits you can develop. It keeps your ego calm, your emotions steady, and your decisions rational. Step 4. Return to a position of calm neutrality. Neutrality is not weakness, it is clarity. It is the foundation of wise judgment. The Stoics called this objective perception, seeing things without coloring them with fear, ego, or insecurity. When you stay neutral until you have facts, you avoid acting like a mind reader, detective, or psychic. Step 5. Respond only when truth emerges. Once you ground yourself in the fact, and only the fact, you can choose a response that comes from calm logic, not emotional turbulence. If you need clarity, ask. If you need time, wait. If you misjudged, correct. If you are wrong, apologize. If the fact is neutral, stay neutral. This is how adults think. This is how Stoics live. Let's look at why this matters so much. When you react to the story instead of the fact, you accuse people unfairly. You create conflicts that never needed to exist. You misinterpret intentions. You amplify anxiety. You make decisions based on fear, not truth. You destroy trust in others and in yourself. Most emotional pain isn't caused by reality. It's caused by interpretation. Seneca said, "We are more often frightened than harmed." Modern psychology agrees. The brain reacts to imagined threats with the same physical intensity as real ones. This is why separating fact from story is not just mental clarity. It is emotional freedom. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you rational. It keeps you from sabotaging relationships with assumptions. And it protects you from being manipulated by your own thoughts. When you master this skill, you become steady, centered, unshakable. People around you will notice. They will trust you more. They will feel safer with you. And you will trust yourself more because you're no longer a prisoner of your imagination. Clear thinking begins where the story ends. 3. Narrow your circle of control. Decision making from the inside out. If you want to think clearly, you must stop trying to control things that were never yours to control. Nothing creates mental fog faster than the illusion of control. The belief that you can manage outcomes, predict every possibility, or steer other people's thoughts, emotions, or behaviors. This mental trap doesn't just cloud your thinking. It crushes your peace and exhausts your energy. The Stoics believed that clear thinking begins with separation, not of facts and stories this time, but of what's yours and what isn't. Epictetus said it plainly. Some things are in our control, and others are not. The brilliance of this sentence lies not in its simplicity, but in how violently it cuts through anxiety. Modern life constantly pushes you to control the uncontrollable. You try to control what others think of you. You try to control how people respond. You try to control outcomes, timing, luck, perception, reputation, results. And the more you cling, the more you suffer. Because when your attention is scattered across things you cannot influence, your mind becomes muddy, chaotic, and tense. Decision-making becomes a battlefield of fear. Thinking becomes reactive and confused. Clarity disappears. The Stoic rule: narrow your field of concern to what you directly control, and let everything else go. This is not passivity, it's precision. Let's break down the Stoic 3 circles, the mental framework used to regain clarity under pressure. Circle 1. What you fully control. Your prime zone. This is your inner territory. Your choices, your judgment, your actions, your effort, your attitude, your preparation, your response. This is where clarity lives. This is where power lives. When your focus stays in this circle, decision-making becomes straightforward. You act from logic, not emotion. You choose based on principles, not fear. You stop being thrown around by things outside your command. Examples: how you speak, how you handle stress, how much effort you put in, whether you prepare or procrastinate, whether you pause or react emotionally. This circle is your fortress. Everything strong is built here. Circle 2. What you may influence. The gray zone. You can influence people, outcomes, and circumstances, but you do not control them. And when you confuse influence with control, you create unnecessary frustration. Examples: you can communicate clearly, but you cannot control how someone interprets it. You can work hard, but you cannot guarantee promotion. You can show love, but you cannot control how someone feels. You can negotiate, but you cannot control acceptance. Clear thinkers understand the limit. Influence is a strategy. Control is an illusion. When you stay aware of the difference, you stop over-investing emotionally in things that don't fully belong to you. Circle 3. What you don't control. At all, the chaos zone. This is everything outside your reach. Randomness, timing, other people's decisions, market conditions, traffic, illness, weather, trends, rumors, misunderstandings, delays. This zone is infinite and dangerous. Why? Because your mind loves to wander here, and the more time it spends in this zone, the more anxious, discouraged, reactive, and confused you become. Thinking clearly is impossible when your attention is trapped in a place where your actions have zero power. The Stoic decision formula: control, act, influence, attempt. No control, release. When faced with any choice, ask, is this fully in my control? If yes, act with discipline. Is this partly in my control? If yes, do your best, then detach. Is this outside my control? If yes, let it go, immediately. This formula creates instant clarity. It reveals where your energy should go and where it is being wasted. Most mental suffering comes from spending hours in Circle 3, when all your power is in Circle 1. Why this is essential for decision-making. When you base decisions on things outside your control, your thinking becomes fear-based. What if they don't like it? What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if the outcome isn't perfect? These questions destroy clarity because they focus on things you cannot command. But when you anchor decisions in what you can do, preparation, effort, strategy, communication, integrity, clarity returns. Your mind becomes steadier, your actions become more consistent, your judgment becomes sharper. You stop making choices from anxiety. You start making choices from alignment. Modern example: you're preparing for a job interview. If your mind focuses on the outcome, will they hire me? Will they like me? Your anxiety rises, your clarity drops, and your performance suffers. But if your mind focuses on your controllable zone, preparing answers, researching the company, practicing your presence, your clarity increases and your results improve. Here's the paradox. The more you detach from outcomes, the stronger your outcomes become. Why this principle makes you calm and unshakable? Because the moment you accept that some things simply aren't yours to control, something inside you relaxes. Your mind becomes lighter. Your decision-making becomes cleaner. Your judgment becomes more rational. And your emotional reactivity decreases dramatically. This is the core of Stoic clarity. When your energy stays where your power is, your mind becomes clear. 4. Slow the frame. Zoom out before you decide. Clear thinking requires space, and space only appears when you slow the mental frame. Most people make poor decisions because they live inside a narrow, accelerated moment. They see only what is happening right now. The emotion of the moment, the pressure of the situation, the urgency of the trigger. When your mental frame is too tight, everything feels bigger than it is. Minor annoyances feel like major offenses. Temporary discomfort feels permanent. Small problems look catastrophic. A mind trapped in the instant moment is a mind incapable of wise judgment. The Stoics mastered the ability to zoom out, to widen their mental perspective before making choices. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to look at things from above, to see life in broader context rather than through the tunnel of the moment. This wasn't a philosophical exercise. It was a practical tool to prevent emotional decisions. When you zoom out, you break the spell of urgency. You step outside the heat of the moment, and you reclaim your ability to think. One of the most powerful Stoic techniques is what modern psychology would call frame extension. Before reacting, you ask, how big is this really? How long will this matter? This immediately weakens emotional distortion. The Stoics understood that most troubles shrink dramatically when placed in the perspective of time. A disagreement today may feel explosive, but in a week it will be forgotten. A frustrating delay may feel unbearable tonight, but in a month it will be irrelevant. Zooming out gives you the emotional altitude you need to decide wisely. Here is the Stoic frame method you can apply instantly. Step 1. Extend the timeline. Ask yourself 3 questions. Will this matter in 1 hour? Will this matter in 1 day? Will this matter in 1 year? As the timeline extends, emotion weakens and clarity strengthens. Step 2. Extend the perspective. Imagine yourself as a neutral observer. If you watched this situation from the outside, without ego, without fear, what would you advise? This shift often reveals how small the issue truly is. Step 3. Extend the meaning. Ask, what is the wise interpretation here? Not the emotional one, not the insecure one, but the interpretation your strongest, calmest self would choose. This method is especially powerful in moments of conflict. When someone says something irritating, your instinct is to snap back. But when you slow the frame, you realize the conflict is tiny, temporary, and often meaningless. You choose restraint instead of escalation. You choose calm instead of impulsiveness. You choose dignity over ego. It also applies to decisions that feel urgent. Many people make bad choices because they are pressured by impatience. They rush into relationships, jobs, purchases, arguments, and commitments they later regret. But if you slow the frame, you discover that most decisions don't require urgency. Wisdom grows in the space where haste dies. Slowing the frame isn't about delaying life. It's about seeing clearly before you act. A paused mind is a powerful mind. When you widen your perspective, you stop reacting to isolated moments and start responding from grounded understanding. This is how Stoics prevented regret. Not by avoiding life, but by refusing to make decisions in a mental fog. Clear thinking often begins with one simple question. What does this look like when I zoom out? 5. Make decisions based on virtue, not emotion. Clear thinking collapses the moment emotion takes the driver's seat. Strong feelings can distort reality, bend judgment, and push you toward choices that feel good in the moment, but create damage later. Anger, insecurity, jealousy, fear, impatience. These emotions are powerful, but they are terrible decision makers. The Stoics understood that emotions are temporary storms, and any decision made in a storm will lead you off course. That's why they built their entire philosophy around a simple, transformative principle. Choose based on virtue, not emotion. Virtue is not about morality in the modern sense. It's about alignment, acting according to the strongest, calmest, most rational version of yourself. When you base decisions on virtue, you create outcomes you can respect. When you base them on emotion, you create outcomes you regret. The Stoics defined 4 virtues as the compass for every decision: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Together, they function like a mental North Star, a framework that stays steady even when emotions pull you in different directions. Wisdom asks, what is the smart, strategic, long-term choice? Justice asks, what is fair, honest, and aligned with integrity? Courage asks, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? Temperance asks, what is balanced, measured, and free from excess? When you consult these 4 questions before acting, your mind becomes clear because your standard becomes consistent. You no longer choose based on mood, you choose based on identity. You stop chasing emotional comfort and start choosing what is right, even when it is inconvenient. Most emotional decisions come from immediacy. You feel something intense and you want relief right now. But virtue takes the long view. It asks who you are becoming, not just how you feel today. That's why virtue-based decision-making feels calmer, cleaner, and more stable. It doesn't spike your nervous system. It doesn't create chaos. It builds confidence because you know you acted from your highest self. Here is the Stoic method for making decisions through virtue. Step 1. Identify the emotion pulling you. Name it clearly: anger, fear, rush, jealousy, hope, ego. Naming reduces the emotion's power. It becomes information, not a command. Step 2. Ask the 4 virtue questions. Answer each one honestly. Your emotional brain will want shortcuts. Your rational brain needs clarity. The more honest your answers, the clearer the path becomes. Step 3. Choose the decision your wiser self would choose, not the one your emotional self desires. This step requires discipline, but every time you do it, you strengthen your internal authority. Step 4. Accept short-term discomfort for long-term respect. Virtue often feels harder now and easier later. Emotion often feels easier now and harder later. Trading short-term comfort for long-term clarity is the core of Stoic decision-making. Consider a difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Emotion says, don't do it, it's uncomfortable. Virtue says, be honest, speak directly, respect the truth. Emotion wants escape. Virtue wants alignment. When you choose virtue, the decision becomes clear, even if it's difficult. This principle applies to relationships, work, finance, health, boundaries, and personal identity. When you choose virtue, you become someone you can rely on. You build inner stability, which is the foundation of outer clarity. Clear thinking is not about suppressing emotion. It's about giving your higher self the final say. Virtue doesn't eliminate feelings. It leads them. It gives them structure. And when virtue leads, your decisions hold up under pressure, align with your values, and move you toward the life you want to create. Clarity begins the moment you choose who you want to be, not what you feel. Clear thinking isn't luck. It's a discipline. Today, you learned 5 Stoic techniques that can change the way you navigate your entire life. The sacred pause, separating facts from stories, narrowing your circle of control, slowing the mental frame, and choosing virtue over emotion. These tools protect your mind from impulsive decisions, emotional reactions, and unnecessary confusion. But their power only appears when you practice them consistently. So choose one technique and apply it today. Try the pause, filter your thoughts, zoom out, ask the virtue questions. The more you use these tools, the stronger and clearer your thinking becomes. This is how Stoics built inner authority, one intentional decision at a time. Thank you for spending your time here and for choosing to strengthen your mind. Your presence means more than you know. If this video helped you, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one, where we'll continue sharpening your mind the Stoic way.